What is up? My name is Alan Bell, and welcome in to Driving the Line. We are going to get right after it today. I appreciate you. If you are new to the brand, we are going live January 15th. Oh, wait a second. Actually, might be the 13th, Saturday. Get you ready for the NFL playoffs. So just keep that one with you. But as we go, we've got about a week here. So we're just going through making bets and testing out the new software, new graphic packages, new video, everything. And your opinion matters. So tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you would change, what you would add, what you would subtract, right? That's what this week is all about. We're going to get it, everything set up on the right time and ready to go. But enough of me yapping. We've got some new tools, some new stuff to play around with, even some background music, which is going to throw Coach off because I'm going to put this out there to him when he's not ready for it. But I'll tell you what, let's let this rock for a little bit and take a look at the recap screen from yesterday on Saturday. And I tell you what, enough of the music. We can't handle that already. All right, look, so 2-4 on the day. All right. And what we want to pay attention to is that it's week 18 in the NFL. It's the final game of the regular season. And we were so close, literally a Ravens score from having a monster night. You know what got us? Interceptions, man. Interceptions got us for sure. CJ Stroud looked good. Colts, what about that fumble right at the end? Oh, man, we needed it for sure. But as I say, man, we were just so close to having a big day. And I'm not saying it for that of like an excuse. What I'm saying is Sunday today across the NFL, be careful, right? Like there are some traps, but there's also some really great plays that we want to hit on as well. And I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and get started and hit on the first game and plays that we like. So jump to it. But before we do, I'll tell you what, let's take a look at the playoff spots, the playoff picture. This is courtesy of NFL.com. So clinch a playoff spot. The AFC, Ravens, they've locked up the 1 seed. All right, Dolphins. Now, they've clinched a spot, but still playing for that division title, playing against the Bills tonight. We'll break that one down. The Chiefs, they've won their division, sitting there. Texans, Browns. All right, NFC side. Now, again, these have clinched a playoff spot. Doesn't mean that these spots are, slotted of where it's going to be, but these are the teams that have clinched the spots. All right, NFC, 49ers, Cowboys playing for the NFC East title. Lions, you see there. Eagles, NFC East title as well. Need a little help. Rams clinched a spot there too. Now let's take a look who is in the hunt. Okay, Buffalo Bills, as we mentioned. It's wild. They could go from winning the division or being out of the playoffs. The Steelers, they need a little help today. The Jaguars definitely have to win against the Titans. You look at the NFC side, Buccaneers, Packers, both in the hunt right there. And then on the bubble, the Seahawks, Saints, Vikings, and Falcons. So that's where we sit. So many different combinations. Today is a monster day across the NFL, and so many different variations that could go down. All right, let's get into our best bets for today. We've got 6 of them for you. All right, so we'll start. First game here. All right, Jaguars, Titans. Understand this. This is the last game for Derrick Henry with the Tennessee Titans, with Ryan Tannehill with the Tennessee Titans. This team is going through some changes this offseason. So I'm going to take Derrick Henry anytime touchdown at plus 100. I mean, I like this play regardless, right? Like throughout the season, but especially on his last game at home against Jacksonville, the place where he is from and he is feasted on. We're going to take Derrick Henry anytime touchdown. All right, now we're also going to take Jaguars, Titans, both teams to score 20-plus points, plus 175. Understand? Yeah, it's a little bit of a risk there, but again, the Jaguars really need this game. The Titans are going to go all out offensively, both quarterback, running back, you name it. I think it's going to be a really fun game, so we're going to take a shot here at plus 175. Okay, next game here. The Bears and the Packers, okay? Packers, as we saw right there in the hunt, need this win. Division rival against the Bears. Let me see if I can pull my face here on the screen while we break these down. I just want to test some things out. Let's see if we can get it. Oh, there we go. All right, we got it. Okay, so we're going to take the Packers money line and both teams to score 10-plus points. That's it. Minus 110. I don't want to mess with anything else. I think the Packers win this game, And I think both teams score 10 points or more. You can find this at BetMGM. So we're going to rock with that. All right. Next game here. Falcons Saints. Again, an important game. Arthur Smith of the Falcons might be coaching for his job. The Saints looking to wrap this thing up. So we're going to take the Saints money line. Both teams to score 10 plus points, minus 105. Again, you can find this at BetMGM. And that's how we're going to get down on this one. You can see that we are playing some of these games fairly safe and finding safe avenues at low juice of where we can get them. Okay. Next play here. Broncos, Raiders. Again, BetMGM. We're going to take the Raiders money line. Both teams score 10 points or more. Now, we're getting this at plus 125, and really it's the Raiders money line. But they're playing at home. All right. The Broncos, quarterback change, everything that they've gone through. Yeah, it worked and looked good once. I'm going to bet against it doing it again. I like the Raiders here. I think that you've got Antonio Pierce, who is, coaching, fighting for, a permanent head coaching job with Las Vegas here. I like the Raiders in this game. So we're going to take a money line. Both teams score 10 plus points at plus 125. Okay. Tonight, Bills-Dolphins. I want to watch this game, enjoy this game, have fun with this game. Both teams score 20 plus points, minus 110. That's it. I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to pick who wins. I don't want to mess with any of it. I just want to have fun and watch both of these teams who are literally fighting for the division title. The Bills are fighting for their playoff lives. Again, it's wild that they go from winning the division or being completely out of the playoffs. And I believe McDermott, coaching staff up there in Buffalo, they might be coaching and fighting for their lives in Buffalo as well. So that's what we have. Let me pull myself back up here. Okay. All right. We're starting to get the hang of it. We're starting to get all of our graphics, videos, all of that lined up. Again, just want to say thank you all so much for the support. You have no idea how much it means to me, to Coach, and everyone involved, because this thing goes live, all right, in a week, this next weekend. We're going to be ready for the NFL playoffs, and we have so many surprises that you don't know about yet. The people, experts that are going to be coming on, you're going to love it. Not to mention, you've seen everything on Twitter and social media about how much you are going to be a part of that. And trust me, you are going to be a part of this as well. You are going to freaking love it. I can't wait to show you everything that we're doing. So please continue to roll with us. We will be live daily, weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern. Obviously, we'll be live this weekend for the NFL playoffs and anytime others, right? That's the beautiful part about it, is that it's finally Coach and myself fully calling the shots, giving you exactly the show that you want, the show that we want, the show that we once had, and it was ripped away. This is how we're going to do it, of exactly getting down what we all enjoyed. So roll with us. You will have a video every single day this week at the same time, because it is serious time now. We are going and letting it rip. But got two more things for you. One's a surprise. One's really not. All right. So first, the recap screen. Got to look at the recap screen here. Okay. So here's what we have. Derrick Henry, excuse me, anytime touchdown, plus 100. Packers money line, both teams to score 10 plus points, minus 110. Jaguars, Titans, both teams to score 20 plus points, plus 175. Bills, Dolphins, both teams to score 20 plus points, minus 110. Saints money line, and both Falcons and Saints to score 10 points or more, minus 105. And the Raiders money line and the Raiders, Broncos, both teams to score 10 plus points at plus 125. So that's the recap there. Now, got a surprise for you. Hey, Coach Phil, you come on in, man. Welcome back, buddy. It's good to see you. This wonderful face that we have all missed, Coach Phil. First off, buddy, just miss you, man. How you doing? You look great.
Hey, man, I'm doing good. Miss you guys too. It's exciting to be back, on the air with you, and really excited about talking some football.
Man, I'll tell you what, and I hate that Coach, is traveling at the moment, right?
Sure.
But, we're just, getting this thing started. We haven't even done our first official show yet. You're really kind of the first one. So you're getting it going, and we're testing some things out, making sure, because,
Great.
when Coach gets here, it's all got to be perfect, right? Like, we've got to have it all down. But speaking of perfect, man, we are at the end of the NFL regular season, and we have a big game tonight. the Bills and the Dolphins. So I'm going to keep short and simple here. My man, you have coached recently with both of these teams. What's the mindset here?
This is a big game. So it's a divisional game. It's the end of the season. So a lot of times that they will configure these matchups where they can kind of anticipate that these are two good football teams and there could be a lot on the line. And then the NFL has just done a wonderful job of being able to flex these games so it doesn't happen at 11, on Mountain Time, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. It's going to happen at 8:15 Eastern Time and 6:15 Mountain Time. So people can really enjoy this matchup. So there's so much here from a football standpoint, but also the scheduling that the league has been able to do to allow this game to happen in prime time.
So, all right. So, my question that I go to like immediately, okay, you're a former player, a former coach, you've been around this league, you understand it. All right. There's so much on the line in this game for both teams. And I mean, literally winning a division, not making the playoffs, like all of these scenarios are somewhere around this game. And you have it in prime time. The whole world is watching. I mean, what is the juice coming into it, right? Like, as a player, as a coach, these are two offensive teams, but then again, they can get down on defense too, man.
Sure.
So, yeah, like, not trying to project the score or anything like that. Like, what's just the energy coming into it? Are you trying to be like the cool, calm, or like, you look at the Dolphins and the Bills, they both play jacked up. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they like to get down. So, what's the feeling come into a game like this?
I think first you have to treat this game like a playoff game, which is trying to maintain the routine. Again, we talked about this during the early Ed shows, these late night games. How do you manage your time during the day? For some guys on their injury report, they can get two more treatments in, one in the morning, one at, right around lunchtime, get a nap in, and then head over to the stadium. So sometimes that additional time can make or break the performance level of an individual who's on the injury report. Then when you get to the stadium, it's about managing your emotions. So a lot of guys will go out as soon as they get there and spend like 3 hours on the field, which I think is a critical mistake. I try to keep guys, in the locker room and then go out casually. Then 90 minutes, we start our preparation, for the kickoff. So I think it's not doing too much differently in your routine than what you did before. And then obviously going out and executing. And if you don't have your anxiousness and your anxiety, in check, these type of games can consume you.
Yeah, and I'll say this: you just brought up the injuries, right? And the injury report in this game. There's some names, there's some significant things that we need to know about. Man, break that down. What are you seeing?
Yeah, so we've talked about injury reports, you and I, probably on 50 shows, and some days we would lead with them, and other days we wouldn't. This is one of the days that we should lead with them. I reached out to Cameron Wolf, who covers the Dolphins. He's an NFL Network reporter, and this is what he projected, as far as what's going on and what he's seen throughout the week. Raheem Mostert is going to play, in his estimation. Waddle, again, is questionable. He went from doubtful to questionable. He had less pain acute cutting, angle cuts on Friday. They're going to work him out in pregame, and he'll be a pregame decision. And he's a guy who I'm talking about as far as it's an advantageous situation for him playing in a Sunday night game and not playing in the Houston Colts game that's happening tonight. He gets an extra day of recovery and an ankle that can be significant, especially on a speed player. Xavier Howard is out. That's huge, for the Bills pass game. Bradley Chubb is out. That's huge for the pass game and the run game. That's a player who's really been ascending, correct? Jerome Baker is probable. All right, he's designated for injured reserve return, and expect the linebacker to go. And the last thing, talking about the Dolphins, is the Miami weather. It's supposed to be 70. It's not a factor. No wind. It's not in Buffalo where it's going to be 20 degrees. So we're going to get a good track.
All right, so here's another question for you. And look, and again, it's different for everybody. Certainly understand that, right? But we're all throughout the season when we would do our shows, you were just absolutely spot on in regards to certain coaches of when they would be aggressive and when they wouldn't, right? Like, you were nailing when coaches would go for fourth downs, things like that. And we're not projecting anything crazy like that. But what my question to you is that looking at it from a coaching perspective, okay, we all say in life that, we coach to win. We coach, to be aggressive, but there's also the thought of doing too much. right? So when you look at a game like in a first half, are you looking at it more like we want to just jump all over it, establish, or let's not make the big mistake? And again, when I ask that question, it's different and everything can change in one series, right?
Sure.
So more so what I'm asking you is from a coaching perspective, right? Like how kind of nervous are you, right? Like, are you looking at not making a big mistake? Or are you looking at it saying, you know what, man, we're going to go for it. And if it doesn't work out perfect, whatever, like we went for it. Like, what's your thoughts there?
I think authenticity to the head coach and what the identity of the offense or defense, like, let's think about this, right? Just talk about it real quickly. Sean McDermott, probably top 5 defensive play callers in the NFL, right? I mean, he's missing Matt Milano, Tre'Davious White, and they're still dragging people every weekend. So this guy can coach some football on the defensive side of the ball. So what's he going to want to do in offense? He want not turn it over, Josh. Run the ball with Cook, which you've seen a huge emphasis. Now Cook is over 1,000 yards in a year, which nobody thought would happen 8 weeks ago. So I think the identity and authenticity of who Sean McDermott is and who this ball club has become, he'll lean into those strengths that they've developed, especially over like the last 6 weeks. Looking at Mike McDaniel, again, let's talk about that. Is he probably top 5 offensive play callers in the NFL? Well, I would agree because their offense is number 1. The rushing is 5. Passing is 1. Scoring is 1. So Mike, I mean, he's going to want to come out and get the ball to the playmakers in space, run some of the stretch zone with some intricate motions and some deceptives. And he's going to want to get a lead on this team so they can try to force, some turnovers with the Vic Fangio defense from Miami.
Man, that's a great answer. And I was just thinking, like, in terms of Buffalo, like, this feels like a game, like, not only with Cook, like what you said, but I mean, Josh Allen himself, like, running the ball. I know that, they've really, they've done a great job of using him when they need to because his legs are a weapon, but also not putting him in bad spots and getting him injured, right? Of what we've seen, because it's a brutal league. You know what I mean? Like, I think Buffalo, go ahead. I was going to say Buffalo's done a great job of doing that. This feels like a game where Buffalo, on the ground, they're going to try to stretch not only vertically, but horizontally as well. They're going to make you cover the entire field.
Yeah, and this is the thing that Vic Fangio knows is that it's week 18, and you got a 250-pound. I call him John Elway 2.0 to me. Being a Denver guy, like, this is a big football player in Josh Allen. So expect the quarterback runs. Expect if he's not just going to check it down. If he sees a lane, he'll blow right by that check down player, tell him to block somebody. And Josh is going to try to hurt you with his legs because the consequences of not winning this game, right, are what? They could be out of the playoffs. I mean, that's what I read all these scenarios that gave me a headache. I had to take 2 Excedrin to figure out what everything was going to happen. I just leave it up to AB and coach to tell me. But since coach isn't here, I had to do my own research today. And they could lose this football game and then miss the playoffs. And Pittsburgh does a couple things and these people do a couple things. So what does that mean to me? Get the ball in your best player's hands and let him do his thing. And I think Joe Brady's done a fantastic job of that. I mean, I really do.
Yeah. See, okay, here's another one. And again, this could be a dumb question, but what you just said, and looking at both offenses, Buffalo's offense this year hasn't been as explosive in terms of, 30, 40-yard pass plays, right? Like they've protected themselves, right? They've tried to limit the turnovers.
Sure.
They've, dropped down the passes, 10, 15 yards, right? And it's worked. It's not worked perfectly, but they haven't turned the ball over as much, as say just last year. But you look at Buffalo's offense, it's kind of bread and butter, running the football 10 yards and in, whereas the Miami Dolphins offense is certainly explosive, right? Like they do need to hit those big plays, especially with Tyreek. So, what I'm fascinated in is not only really that of what we just talked about, but this aspect. Everything is on the line and you're playing a division rival.
Right.
How much does that come into effect? Because these coaches know each other, these teams know each other. Like, how big is that?
It's big. Sometimes you might even show somebody something. I think they played on October 1st. You might show them something from a run set or a pass set, and then know that you've shown them that formation and then run something completely different. So there is gamesmanship within a division. If you know for sure you're going to play a team twice, and sometimes in these situations you play a team 3 times. These teams could play each other 3 times if somebody upsets Baltimore. So I think a lot of times, and you're coming to come back and see them again twice next year, and there's going to be very little turnover on the coaching staff because most of these teams are good football teams. So I think you're always kind of trying to create some deception or trying to build a game plan together that you could expound on, and maybe a different personnel grouping, a different formation, a reverse off of that, a play action pass, a screen. So I think that these divisional games, they force you as a coach to really be creative.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot, man. And I'll tell you, I want to throw it to you here. Any keys to the game, anything that you see, anything that you have kind of studied, looked at, that you're like, dude, nobody's talking about this, or you're not talking about this. Like, we need to address anything that you see. Yeah, break it down, man. Just let it rip. What you got?
The one thing that I've been looking at over like the last 6 weeks is that Diggs hasn't really been involved, right? He's just kind of like 5 of the 6 games have been below 50 or 60 yards. Just it hasn't been standard operation Diggs. But we talked about Xavier Howard being out, right? So Ramsey's left, and is he going to travel? What's going to happen? I always look to these games like, who are the best players, right? And then it's not like Diggs can't play anymore. Like CeeDee Lamb struggled earlier in the year, and I went on a Cowboys show, and I'm like, trust me, guys, he's going to be okay. Then he had like the biggest season in the history of the Cowboys. So I think you got to understand that the receiver position, a lot of times it has to do with, okay, we're trying to establish the run game. So who automatically gets sacrificed when we're going to do 15 more carries than we did, a week before? Well, the receiving core, obviously. Then Diggsy's going to take a hit. So in games like tonight's, what's going to happen is, Diggs might go off, and that, don't be surprised without Xavier Howard if Diggs does have a big game.
I like it, man. I like it. All right. Anything else, buddy? Anything else you got, man?
No, I like the multiplicity, the way that the Bills have been using Cooks. I like James Cooks. I like the way they've been using him out of the backfield. I mean, he's got a good skill set. He can catch the ball. They run the stretch zone. I like that. And I just feel with the Dolphins, it's just been a distracting week for them. Just, we had the fire at Tyreek's house, which it was on a Wednesday, which is the most important day of practice. He leaves practice. If you come back Thursday, it's hard. It's hard to compartmentalize when you had, a near catastrophe on your hands, and obviously he's probably very thankful that everybody's safe, but it's still something to deal with, which is difficult. And then we had all these injuries in the injury report. So it's just a lot of Mike McDaniel having to address different things, and a lot of people having to deal with different things. And from my experience, I do like a quiet week leading into a big game.
Yeah, and especially, McDaniel, I mean, we love him. Like, he's a heck of a coach, but he's a young coach. And you're right. I mean, that I could even imagine dealing with all that. You know what I mean? So you're right in terms of, having a quiet week coming in. It's just nice when the water is just – there's not a lot of weight going in there,
Yeah, I do. And I think that's important for the players too, to just, you kind of stay in your routine. Anything this is just me, and not everyone feels this way, but anything that kind of alters your routine and oftentimes it's like your wife or your kids are sick or something happened back home and went to one of your friends. It doesn't help the game. Doesn't help you focus and execute in the game. There's small little things, and a lot of great players are able to compartmentalize, and it doesn't affect them whatsoever. I just would rather not have to overcome.
No, man, you bring up a good point that, for people like myself and anyone else that, I've never played in the NFL, I've never coached in the NFL. Sure. And, we just watch and see, and, you forget, just normal people. You have life, you know what I mean? You have kids that, little badasses in school, you know what I mean? That are getting in trouble. You got to discipline them. The wife, you've got all kinds of things, just regular life going on.
It's regular life. It's regular life. And those are the things that, you always try to compartmentalize. And most of the professionals can do that. It's just as a coach, right? I just don't like to have all these little fires that we're putting water out here, over there. And then, it's just like, it's almost by the end of the day, you get through it, but then you're like, take a deep breath and you're like, man, is everybody okay? Are they going to play? How's this guy's leg? How's his ankle? Oh, How's his concentration? So you got to trust you got to trust your team and know that they're going to overcome these things, but it's just not ideal.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, anything else that you want to get out for this game before we jump out?
No, I think we're good. I'm looking through all of my stuff, and I think we've hit everything. And it was a pleasure to be on the show with you guys again, and I'm really excited about the future for you guys.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man, the pleasure's all right here and in the audience. I know that they're gonna love seeing that smiling face. And I tell you what, man, here, like this isn't gonna be the last that we see of Coach Phil for sure, but let's have some fun on the way out. Okay. So Monday night,
Okay.
big national championship.
We've got man,
Michigan. Yeah, we got Michigan. Did you watch the playoff games?
Absolutely. Couldn't take my eyes off.
Yeah.
Couldn't take my eyes off of it. I mean, I thought that was some of the best college football that I had seen. And I really enjoyed the LSU game actually earlier in the day. And then kind of rolled it in nice to those games. But I think Michigan just has too much physicality and personnel up front, and that they'll be able to run the ball and control the ball a little. I think it's going to be a very close game. And I think Michael Penix is one of the most. I saw him live a couple years ago when we played them. He is just so accurate, and his spin rate on the football, the way it comes off of his hand, and the velocity he can generate, it's really impressive. So if anybody can take a roster that's maybe just a hair less than what Michigan is across the board, it's somebody like Penix with those two wideouts that are probably going to go in the first round.
Dude, and you know what? That's exactly why I brought it up, right? And not for like a game prediction or anything like that. Like, it's going to be an awesome national championship game, but exactly that for Penix, because watching him, man, like in your perspective of coaching, of playing wide receiver position, like he not only gets the ball out so fast, I mean, just quick, as soon as the ball's in his hands, like he's getting it out, and it's deadly accurate, man. Like he can negate like great defensive lines, not fully negate for a game, but it comes out so fast that he almost can take that portion out of your game because there's no way you're going to get to him. You know what I mean? So yeah, like I just loved hearing your thoughts right there on Penix, because this team is good, man.
Yeah, like, Penix reminds me of when we were looking at quarterbacks in the draft, Tua and Burrow. Honestly, just like, you know, maybe he's not as good as Burrow. No, he's not as good as Burrow. Okay, I get it. He's not going to be number one.
Pretty damn good.
When I'm watching tape, when I'm watching tape, right, and I'm seeing somebody, because at the time Burrow had Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, right? So what does Penix have? 2 first-round picks. So he threw with a great anticipation, in particular on some of these in-breakers and the deep balls down the field. So I just hadn't been as excited about a quarterback player that had film like this since Tua and Burrow.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that Texas defense is no joke. And he just, I mean, every time he got the ball, he would just drive you down the field, man. Like, he's good. I mean,
he's really good. He's composed too. Yeah. I mean, he's battle tested. He's been injured a million times and he's come back 1,000,001. So, I mean, what can you not like about the kid, right? Yeah. I mean, you're rooting for him. I mean, obviously Michigan, I mean, every NFL scout that you'll talk to will tell you Michigan has more draftable players. They have the better 2-deep roster. But Kalen DeBoer is one fantastic football coach. Grubb, his offensive coordinator, is absolutely lights out. They got a special quarterback, right? And if it comes down to Michigan's up by 6, which could be possible, with 1:28 on the -25 with Penix with the ball, I'll take my chances, right? And I think that's what Washington has to do. They have to find a way to stay within touching distance with Michigan and then let the kid be the best player on the field, which, in my opinion, he will be.
Yeah, dude, 100%. I can't wait to watch it, man.
And Me too.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, one last thing, and I'll say this, and I swear I'll get you out of here. I go back to, I can't remember what show that we were doing, like which week in the NFL season, but we were on there, and as we always did, we broke down the quarterbacks, but we were talking running backs for a minute, and I can't even remember which running back it was, but you were talking about how on 3rd down, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, the guy just took off, right? Like as soon as the ball snapped, I formation, go to get the first down, right? Where a lot of, running backs will dance,
Sure.
right behind the line. And you're like, man, I love the way this guy runs. Blake Corum from Michigan, the running back. I was watching him do the same thing. And I was thinking about you when I was watching that game, because it was like Michigan would have 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. And everyone knew that they were handing the ball off to Corum. And it was like, as soon as it was snapped from the center, this dude was lightning. I mean, just right up the middle. Like, he's getting that first down. It's gonna take an 18-wheeler to stop him. So there's
I love Blake. I love Blake. I love Blake Corum.
Yeah, he's good, man.
I love the way he plays. He's not a big guy, but he doesn't run like a little guy at all.
No, he plays like a big guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a little shorter, but he really, he hits the hole incredibly hard. And did you see the run that he had in overtime?
Yes.
He pressed it to the heels of the lineman, the jump cut here, the jump cut there, and then the finish for the touchdown with the power. And it's not like Alabama is a directional Missouri school, right? Like, this is Alabama. We're playing here. So for him to do that to me, it's always about the level of competition. It's like to do that to Alabama in overtime to basically win the football game. Like, what a baller.
I know him and McCarthy, the quarterback. Like, they've got stones, dude. Like, they're not afraid. Like, if they're behind that drive, dude, they're battle tested. Like, they've gone through all the distractions, all the the mess with the Harbaugh stuff and all of that all year. And this team has just shown up every single week. And we're not discounting Washington at all. But like, Michigan's just, man, they've been to war every week.
Right. And I think you got to give the players so much credit for, I think they went without Coach Harbaugh for 6 games. I believe it was something like of that nature, which is essentially half their season. Correct. So, I got Sharon Moore did a great job, but like, coaches should do a great job when they fill in for the head coach. Where it gets tough is when you have an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kid. Now, like, the substitute teacher's there and the principal's out, and like, what do you do? Right. Well, they look like they got serious, right? Like, they got more serious, and like, it like galvanized them and pissed them off. And that's what I saw in those weeks without Harbaugh. And then when Harbaugh came back, it was almost like the same, like the team is mature. And like, when you have a player-led team, people use that all the time. But like, when you have a player-led team, take the coach away for six weeks. We'll find out if you get a player-led team or not. When you say player-led, that means I go to my office on the 2nd floor and y'all are down by yourself in the locker room for an hour, and then we'll see if nobody gets beat up. Like, that's player. That's like player-led from like the most people's standpoint. Not miss a guy for 6 weeks, right? Win all the games, go beat Alabama, and then be favored to beat Washington. They're a special group of guys. And there's a lot of Michigan people I know out there in the world that have been starving for this for quite a long time. Washington as well. I'm excited. It's going to be a great game. I honestly, either way, there's going to be so many positive stories. I just would love to see a good game, and I'd love to see a last-minute drive with Penix to see, what he can do against that Michigan defense. And, just that would be, for me, the ultimate, like, I'd be on my feet, in the basement with the surround sound going, and so I'm hoping for those types of finishes where you can barely breathe after the game and your heart's coming out of your chest and you won't sleep for at least 2 hours. So you might as well go upstairs and make yourself, a meal or something. But I'm excited, man. Super excited.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you, man. It's gonna be a great game, and you're right on Michigan, man. Like, those players, like, they act like professionals. They really do. Like, they handle their business. They do,
because Jim hires great football coaches, and Jim's a great football coach. Like this isn't like an accident. Like,
no, he's done this everywhere the exact same way. Like,
right, and so like the way it is the way it is, and like, it's good. I mean, it's good for the sport. It's good for the school. I was in Ann Arbor this summer. I took my son up there. We went through the stadium and everything. And when we went up to the Lions camp, and I just have such a respect for that program. And, I played with a lot of guys or teammates and coach guys from Michigan. I mean, it's a really unique fraternity of brothers and sisters in that program.
It's Michigan. It's Michigan, man. It's Michigan. All right. I've talked your head off enough. Phil, dude, thank you so much. So good to see you, buddy. And we'll be seeing you soon for sure, man. So salute to you. Yeah. See you, buddy. Everybody, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed that. And so many more surprises that are coming. But until then, everybody, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets on an NFL Week 18 Sunday. And look, Coach, he's going to be right here with you. He's coming soon. He's got some travel and some family things that he's got going on. He's almost ready to go. That's why we're prepping all of this right now. Good. I can't wait for all of you to be live in the chat and us getting down how we love it. So, everybody, best of luck. Cash these tickets, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.